Can I take your picture to remember your beautiful face on the road? Can I kiss you, woman, though I shouldn't? I love you with all my soul. Hey, 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 then that's glory. Can I take your picture to remember, to remember, to remember? Egocentric, chauvinistic, I'm eccentric, so ballistic. I've been living life on the up and down.
Every so often a book appears in the bestsellers list that does more than just shift copies. It changes the way an entire generation views itself. Tonight, I am privileged to be seated with someone whose own life was the inspiration for their literary masterpiece. I understand that your first encounter with the community occurred largely by chance.
Yes, I was just about to begin work as a doctor, and a relationship which had served me well as a medical student was coming to an end.
Up and down. Up and down.
Hiya, darling, how's the new apartment?
Don't darling me, Steve. I want your things out of my apartment today. All right.
What do you mean, out? Well, like, break up with me? Surely you know how much you mean to me. Yeah, I know it's your flat, but I mean, today's my first day as a doctor.
But I got your picture to remember, to remember, to remember. Egocentric, chauvinistic, I'm eccentric, so ballistic. I've been living life on the up and down.
Hi, I need a room. It's urgent. Do you have anything available?
Nothing at the moment.
Look, I don't think you understand. I save lives and things, you know, I'm quite important.
Yes, but we don't have any room left. Thanks.
Up and down.
So this is what you're doing with yourself these days. Alden, I hear you're selling paintings now.
Yes. In the spring, I bagged around £13,000 per canvas.
Well, who buys them?
People with no brains.
You sell many?
Oh yes, lots.
Look, Alden, I've got this big problem.
You don't have anywhere to live.
Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but basically, yeah.
Call these guys. He's a self-stylized working-class hero by the name of Rupert. I think he's setting up his own kibbutz.
What kind of working-class hero calls himself Rupert?
Stephen. My family came to this crazy little island in 1939, and in all the years we've been here, we've only really learned one thing.
What's that?
There will always be a certain kind of working-class hero in London who calls himself Rupert. He's got a bunch of friends. You know Mark and Phil.
Mark and Phil from uni.
Be careful.
Be careful of them. Seriously, Alden. Look, Mark, it's getting really desperate. You know what? I can't believe that our society hasn't made provisions for pillars of that same society like what I am.
So how do you become a pillar of society then? Is it like an exam or something?
Yeah, look, doctors are pillars of society automatically. Phil, you're a pillar.
What about policemen and teachers?
Minor pieces of fallen masonry in comparison to me.
Did you only get back from India last Tuesday?
Yes.
Well, it might have been a bit more sensible to come back a bit earlier, given that you had to find a place to live before starting work in your first post as a societal pillar.
Well, big help that is now.
Well, if you're desperate, I mean, if you're really, really desperate, then...
What is this like the kibbutz?
Well, I wouldn't describe it as a kibbutz.
We've set up this place in East London. Now, the building's actually owned by the church, so we got it on reduced rent. I mean, historically, they used to use it to house these nuns. And at the moment, there's space for 6, but there's only 4 of us. We'd have to speak to him first.
What, who's him? Is he like the Archbishop or something?
Rupert's a really smart guy.
So who actually came up with the idea of the commune?
Rupert was the one who felt strongest about the concept of communal living. Once he found a house, all he needed was a group of followers.
Hey mate, come up.
You okay?
Come on in. The water's lovely.
I saw it from the road, it looks really good.
Yeah, it's still an official church property, so we got it on easy terms. We're calling it the Holy Bonus. 20% off for being faithful.
Faithful?
Phil went to confession a couple of weeks ago.
Forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned.
Steve, right?
Yeah.
So the rent. The rent is averaging out at about £100 per month. So as a man lucky enough to be employed by the state, you'd be paying 200.
So what, is it like a bigger room?
No, your room would be the smallest in the house.
Okay.
Steve. Hi, mate.
So, do you mind if I see the room?
So, this is yours.
Okay, so Rupert, £200
Right.
for that room.
You see, Doctor, in this community, what binds us together is a shared conviction that whilst the rest of the world endures the agony that is capitalism, here in this environment, we can live by our own rules.
What?
Rupert doesn't pay any rent.
Don't pay me rent.
Steve, let me take this opportunity to ask you, indeed, to ask you directly. Are you participating in any form of private practice at this time?
No, I'm like a junior doctor.
Well, that's good to hear. Because if you had attempted to work for the private sector, your application for residence would be null and void.
Wait, what do you mean? You don't have a job?
Job? It's a four-letter word.
I thought you had a first from Cambridge.
Yes. But I want to make it perfectly clear I did very little studying to obtain that qualification.
So that means...
Rupert doesn't have a job.
Mr. Crumb, won't you realize I think about you day and night all the time. We can fight if you wanna fight. I train for it every day and night.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a well-paid job. You know, I take home more every month than I spent in a year as a student. And I'm expecting this big promotion at work soon. Expecting to be called in for interview at any moment. I mean, I was from Liverpool. It was about as old labour as you could get up there. Rupert's a neocon compared to the people I grew up with. And Dave's busy with his PhD and everything. He's getting practically nothing for that. And anyway, if you look at it in terms of the bigger picture, compare me rent here to one of those dumb yuppie flats in Dockyard. It's not that much.
I mean, you're paying him to sit around all day and do nothing.
Well, Steve, our society is paying 8 million adults a working age to sit around all day and do nothing all day. It doesn't seem to bother anybody. And anyway, as far as Rupert goes, it's not nothing. That guy set up the whole ethos of this building. He's not about the money. He's more into, like, pastoral support. He's organising a revolution practically every day of the week.
So, Basically, I'd like to propose David is responsible for using the Hoover on the upstairs carpets.
I accept.
And the downstairs carpets?
I would like to propose Mark.
Yeah, you want to propose to Mark?
Philip, well volunteered. That's the downstairs carpet sorted. Any other items on the agenda?
What about this Christian thing? I mean, do you really think I can cope?
I read the New Testament once. Me and Phil were backpacking around Europe. Couldn't quite get to the end, though.
Holden, do you think I should move in?
No.
So, Steve, when are you thinking about moving in?
It's open!
Look, guys, I mean, the apartment is great, really, and you guys are great, but I mean, I just don't know if it's for me.
Hi, boys. Everyone, this is Janet. Hello. Janet, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Hi,
Janet.
Sophia.
Thanks.
Can I sit there? Please? Thanks.
Hello. You must be the new one that's just moved in. Rupert tells me you're a doctor. My ex-boyfriend was a doctor, but I just broke up with him. I want your things out of my apartment today. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve was just saying that he's still not sure yet.
No, I mean, what? It's urgent, right? I'd have to have my stuff in by Wednesday if that's okay.
Too right, it's okay.
Oh, I'll have to have a PARTTY.
Look, guys, I don't want to fast.
So it's a party then for next Wednesday.
Why not?
Yes.
Last night we're speeding in my car, forgot to pay attention. There's a copper gonna stop us, come and get your pension.
So what about your PhD thesis? How's that going?
When you were like in medical school, like, did they ever say anything to you that about a high tug rate being dangerous or anything? Yeah, I don't see how it could be really.
She don't like it safe. Not
What are those two idiots
fighter.
doing?
He's inside her already too late. And they don't know what's in store.
Alright, so they never had a lecture with photographs on PowerPoint saying this is what a guy's thing looks like after he's done too much.
No, never.
He's being cancelled on account of his high tug rate. Shall I turn the music back on?
Don't mention any of this to Rupert, alright? I don't want him getting any ideas or anything.
So how much have you done?
How much tugging?
No, how many pages have you done?
Okay, right. You've never had to write a PhD thesis. Okay, well there's all this background work that you've got to do, and then there's references that you've got to collect, and then there's all these development meetings, and then emails from the supervisor.
So how much have you done?
None.
So, what are you really doing here? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I like to stay in the area. The ambience.
Look, we need to talk. What about tomorrow at the cafe?
All right.
Yesterday has come and gone. I've seen the face of everyone. Oh, happiness, won't you go away? I don't wanna see.
So how you doing?
Look, Steve, I'm really sorry. I just don't know if you're the one. You know? Listen, I think I should tell you I'm seeing this guy from Brazil. He's actually in charge of South American fruit marketing for the Northern Europe.
Just Northern Europe, well, he wasn't smart enough to do Southern as well.
Sure, he is smart enough for Southern as well.
You know what, maybe. Maybe he was afraid of the additional responsibility that that region might entail.
Oh, I don't think he was afraid. I think you'll find that the salary he receives from Northern Europe is quite enough to fund his lifestyle. And mine. He's also very good at tennis. He took me to some events at the O2 Arena.
You know what, I don't know how you cope, what with your parents and your rich boyfriends giving you money. I mean, it must be hard.
Actually, I think merchant banking's a far more serious occupation for a man as he matures. See, there you're talking about serious income. Nothing too flashy. Nothing to any real excess. Do you know last Christmas how many people in the City of London received a cash bonus of over £1 million?
4,000.
Yes, how did you know that?
Rupert told me.
Actually, I think I was there. Anyway, they were practically all men. I don't know why I bothered to work at all. I mean, that's what you're up against. Do you receive a bonus at the NHS?
Oh no, yeah, last Christmas one of the drug reps gave me a free tourniquet. A red one.
What would you use that for?
No phlebotomy.
No, Doctor, that's really not a seductive thing to say to a lady, is it?
Julia.
So what do you think of your new room then? I know it's small, but it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be in somewhere finally, but it's going to take me a bit of getting used to because, you know, with Julia I had so much space. But, you know, what Rupert says goes, so...
Rupert's got a lot on his plate at the moment. He's always doing stuff. He's always busy.
Why, what's he doing now?
Well, this afternoon he's trying to stop the Americans from bombing Iran. He thinks it might trigger the end of the world.
And how's he doing that? Is he what? Is he sabotaging their fighter jet?
No. I think he stands outside the embassy and shouts something. And this evening he's trying to stop, help asylum seekers. Have you ever been to one of his meetings where he tries to help asylum seekers?
No.
You must. You must be pretty happy as well about living with a family.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be somewhere, but you were paying more than our share. Do you really think that's fair?
Of course it's fair. I could afford 3 or 4 times more than that if I wanted to.
Now you're starting to sound like him.
Look, there are thousands of apartments in this city. Do you realise that?
Yeah, I've seen them walking down the street.
And they're all fucking boring. Have you ever noticed that? What do you think happens in the average house in this city? Nothing happens. Nothing. They keep inventing more television channels, and they're all fucking shit. Rupert's fun. Yes, he's costing money. Of course he's costing me money, but he's fun. How can you put a price on fun?
Yeah.
Stephen, Dr. Luxman here. Bob Luxman, the hospital. Listen, we've got another of those cheese and wine evenings. One of the drugs companies wants to flog their products to us again. Got a limited number of tickets, but... Are you interested in coming?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, good. Excellent. We'll see you there.
Julia, hi, you okay?
Look, I'm at the art gallery now. We have a launch party tonight for the new Fen exhibition.
Fen who?
Oh, he's this new French artist everyone's talking about. You should come.
Look, I can't tonight, I'm busy, I've got this work thing. It's important, you know, I have to show my face. I am free tomorrow.
I'll be in Paris tomorrow.
Right, well, be careful in Paris, there are a lot of French men there. Bob, about the event tonight.
Yes, about tonight. Unfortunately, although I did promise you, I'm going to have to cancel you because those two girls downstairs want to come instead, so I'm afraid you're going to have to sit this one out. But I do want to help you with your career, so come on, let's get going. They're waiting.
Hi, Mr. Wilson, how are you feeling today?
About the same.
About the same? Alright, well, sit tight anyway. I might get a doctor to, get a nurse to come and check on you. Thank you. Nurse, doctor.
Can I borrow a pen?
Yes. Doctor, that's right. So, like.
Medicine has a world to itself. I mean, when I started out, I considered becoming a hand surgeon, but of course I couldn't face the social stigma that's attached to it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Right.
Practical procedure, that's where the money is, especially in Harley Street. You know these merchant bankers, they've got nothing on the guys who've got a private practice. But of course, you've got to get into the surgery first. Come on.
Ah, yeah.
Waiting.
How are you feeling today? Oh, not too good. Not too good. Alright, no be lost.
Sleight of hand that twists the knife, falling over like a chainsaw. You can touch it if you like, with the distant memories, like a bird that's flying away, that's soaring through the Andes, crashing down against the rain. Well, it's almost over, and it's coming in trains. I'm looking forward to going insane.
You have reached King's College. Please hold. King's College, good morning.
Yeah, hi, can I speak to David Cronkite, please?
The PhD student?
Yeah, the PhD student.
I shouldn't think he usually doesn't make it to the college before 10:30.
Okay, so what, I'll call back about 11 then?
Oh no, they'll be on their coffee break.
So how long?
Officially about an hour.
Oh, ouch.
David, I tried to call you at uni.
Well, that's going to be my main policy when I run for political office. Bigger golf holes, and then I'll get the early retirement vote. Right, let's face it, right? Who's going to vote for an idiot like Rupert?
In this country, that's what, like 20-30% of the vote, so...
True. Right. I've actually got to break off from this and do some writing, I suppose.
How's it going?
It's 9,000 words.
It's good. Yeah.
Right, like, it's all a bit random though, so, you know, the spell check doesn't understand all the other technical terminology.
Got someone to bet. I can tell you. Got 'em running scared.
He was at the Chinese embassy.
What did he actually go in this time?
No, I think he just like stands and shouts things from the street.
Do you want me to proofread this?
Yeah, go on.
Look, see, you know there's only one C in Cronkite, right?
Sorry.
What about the variables? How'd you get around the symbols?
Oh, I just named them all X and then they just sort of cancelled each other out in the end.
I'll fix it.
Janet, what's happening, darling?
I have to tell you something. It's a bit embarrassing, though.
What on earth is it?
I think I'm in love with Rupert. You know, my father was a policeman in communist Poland, and back then everything was so much better than it is today. Plus, Rupert has so much of an ambition.
But he's penniless.
Well, he told me this journalist contacted him, and he wanted to interview him for a newspaper.
Oh my god, will he be famous?
Well, it's East London Echo.
Well, he's not going to get famous from that, is he?
They're hiring a studio to take photographs of him.
What will he be wearing?
He's going to go dressed as Che Guevara. Rupert is so great because he believes in something, you know?
What does he believe in?
He believes in the teachings of Karl Marx.
What? That bloke with the beret on the wall?
No. Che Guevara was the one with the beret. Karl Marx was the one with the beard.
Well, I can't abide beards, Janet.
They contacted him and they want to interview him as a local hero.
Janet, he's never going to get rich from it. Look at Poland. They were all Marxists, and now they're just doing the plumbing.
At least Poland was a safe society. And now there is just so much drugs and prostitution and mafia. When the Marxists were in charge, there were no drugs and everybody was happy.
Yeah, sure. Listen, I've just been seeing this new millionaire called Vladimir. I think he wants to take you back to Russia with him.
Russia? But what about Stephen and the boys in the flat?
Stephen has no career ambition, Janet. And the boys in the flat bore me to death, really. I mean, Rupert's absolutely penniless, and he expects everyone to pay his rent for him.
Well, I don't mind paying rent for him. There is an empty bedroom, and I just really want to move in there. Can you please talk to Rupert for me?
Seriously, Janet. My idea of moving in with a man is that he should be paying the rent for me.
Yes, I know, but at least I'll be near Rupert. He's so gorgeous. Can you please help me?
Yeah, sure. I suppose it's got to be more fun than living with Matt, the policeman.
I knew you were gonna help me.
Hi, I'm Bill from the East London Echo. You must be Rupert.
Yes.
Please take a seat. We understand that you've set up an alternative community in this neighbourhood.
That's right.
And do you think that's a good thing to have in a place like Hackney?
Absolutely. I mean, as far as great political thinkers go, this part of London has been overlooked. Hampstead had Karl Marx, and the Bloomsbury people had that square thing. I think it's time for Hackney to have its own...
Hackney's answer to the Bloomsbury Square group?
Right.
Have you got a book?
I'm sorry?
Well, for the benefit of our readers, you know, most great thinkers have a book. The Wealth of Nations, Mein Kampf.
You could tell them I'm writing a web page.
Well, we have a newspaper and a web-based news sheet. I suppose we could get you into both. So what's your favourite colour?
Blue.
Are you sure about that?
Actually, you're right. Let's make it red for this article.
Did you occupy London?
Yes.
Did you stay in the camp next to St Paul's?
No. You'd be amazed at how smelly those tents got. But I am very active on the issue of African farming. African farmers are selling their cash crops to the West when they should be growing food to feed their own people.
Are you sure?
Banning African imports is the only way to stop starvation in Africa. I'm certain of it.
So you see yourself as a bit of an eco-warrior?
That's right.
In terms of washing powder, and your policy on washing powder, how do you see yourself enforcing that at a national level?
Yes, Bill. A lot of so-called eco-warriors are just wasting their time. Once I achieve power, anybody speaking in a xenophobic manner or using non-ecological washing powder will be shot.
You'd actually have them shot? I mean, you wouldn't try hanging or the guillotine?
The guillotine's out. Besides, I totally loathe the French. Even the cheese annoys me. A firing squad is the only solution. That's what Che Guevara would have done.
In terms of your followers, would you say that they're all as equally committed to a socialist Britain as you are?
I doubt my flatmates have much time for anything else. They're totally committed, whatever the risks. They're pretty deadly.
In terms of the issue of young men in East London and police harassment, we understand you've got some real strong views on that.
I've spent a lot of time around the local tube station, and I can tell you for a fact that stop and search powers are being totally abused by the police.
Have you ever been arrested?
No. I'm afraid not.
So you're totally committed to a socialist Britain?
If I had one atomic bomb, I'd drop it on Ascot. So, for the photos, I brought some props. I brought this. I thought we could use it in the photos to highlight the similarity between me and Che Guevara.
Excellent, let's start with that. Oh, wow. That's good. Yeah.
Does it look okay?
Yeah, that looks. Do you just wanna just tilt it slightly? That's really cool. Just we'll open the book up. It's like you're kind of reading one of your favourite pages. Yeah. Do you wanna try something else? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, a bit of an action. That's very good. I like that. I like
Vive la révolution! Vive la révolution! Vive la révolution!
This is for a newspaper article.
And?
Well, there's no voice. You know, it's a stills camera.
Just trying to make it realistic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to try something else?
So I've got this. Does it matter if it's blue?
That's fine. We're shooting in black and white.
Vive la révolution! Vive la révolution! Vive la révolution!
Vive Revolution. That's French, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, surely if you want to be like Che Guevara, you'd actually be speaking in Spanish. You know, I was speaking to my editor the other day, and he told me that 60% of our readers are women. And I'm just wondering, you know, perhaps if you removed the shirt, it would bring more publicity to the cause.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Are you sure that women are as shallow as men when it comes to exposed flesh?
Believe me, absolutely.
Yeah, I like
I heard recently that there are security people around Karl Marx's grave. I'd just like to say that if I am killed in the cause of revolution, I want the public to have free access to my tombstone.
And how would you like to die?
I'd like to be shot by the CIA.
So, Mark, if you look back 3 or 4 years now to the publication of the article about Rupert, when Rupert realised that he had been portrayed as a sex object rather than as a revolutionary, was he depressed about that?
No. Once Rupert saw his article in the East London Echo, his ego got completely out of control. After that, any balmy idea he had, we had to listen to.
What's this? What's this thing next to the toilet? Who's put that there?
That is the ironing board.
Yes, I can see it's the ironing board. What's it doing next to the toilet?
It's been installed, it's safe.
Right next to the toilet, there are the people using this toilet, peeing into the toilet, often with extremely poor precision, and these people are more often than not peeing onto the ironing board. Do you realise that?
Yeah, but it's gonna dry again.
Dry? I mean, I might iron my shirt after I clean the damn thing in the washing machine, iron it, and then press that dry wee-wee into the cotton, and then go to work in it, and people will see me walking around in it, and that shirt touching my skin will actually be covered in Rupert's pee.
Well, if you wish to live in a community, then you must abide by the rules of that community.
Well, I'm going to make a rule up right now, and that rule
You can't!
is...
You don't have access to the House Committee.
What am I supposed to do with this?
I think you're supposed to fill it in.
Do they actually expect me to attend this? What's the date?
It's the 15th.
Oh, can you not remember that?
How am I supposed to remember the date when they keep changing it?
What is that? Your application to become rational?
No, it's an application for a job. When are you thinking of getting one?
Job? It's a four-letter word. What do you want a job for?
Government rules. You have to attend an interview if they get you one, otherwise I'll stop paying your benefits.
Hey Rupert, if you get a job, you're able to start paying your own rent.
Typically, the employment agency does not send me such high-level candidates. The fact that you are a first at Cambridge, that's just amazing. I'm so impressed. You are going to be working with children because it is a child care center. So there's one very important question that I have for you. Do you have a police record?
Yes.
Yes? What is it?
It's walking on the moon.
So they still keep giving him money?
I mean, as long as you actually attend the interview, then make sure they can't appoint you to the job. They just keep paying you the benefits.
The dole.
The dole.
Walking on the moon. Only you would think of that.
So does he still keep getting housing benefits then?
Yeah.
So, that's smoking out then. No smoking in the community. And I think we're all decided on that. The next item on the agenda is the issue of the new flatmate to fill the empty room. Philip, I believe you have some ideas on this matter.
Yes, there's Chris, a guy I work with, who I know for a fact has just broken up with his girlfriend.
Yeah, you see, girlfriend. I think what you got to think about that is heterosexuality. Heterosexuality in the cult of the mainstream. I'm starting to feel that this may be a weakness in the fabric of this community.
What the hell's mainstream about this place?
Right, so Rupert, like, you think the straight thing is bad? Or is this just what some idiot has told you to think?
Philip, anyone else?
Well...
Things came to a head after Rupert had a bad experience at a demonstration. Rupert had spent the day trying to get himself arrested at a political rally in front of these sixth formers from Cheltenham Ladies College. Unfortunately, there was this guy in one of those fluorescent yellow jackets, and Rupert decided to shout abuse at him for half an hour. In the end, it turned out he was the park warden. I mean, Rupert had gone there without putting his contacts in, so it was an understandable mistake to make. I don't think he actually heard from those two posh girls again. When he got home, he decided to make up for it by putting a gay rights activist to live in our spare bedroom.
Yes, he's this local actor. Gay. I mean, obviously that doesn't make any difference. Just broken up with his boyfriend. And we've made a provisional offer for him to enter this community at £82 a month.
Enter?
What? How the hell does he get that rate? I mean, 80 quid.
I think you've all got to try a bit harder. You must have seen the cuts the government has made to the performing arts, not to mention the discrimination that still goes on in the name of so-called normal behaviour. We made it plain to Andy that those on the receiving end of discrimination would see the burden of rent reduced in this community. And he's agreed to come out. Formally.
Oh, right, so if we all come out, do we get a 20% reduction?
No. That's not how it works.
You have no compassion.
You're just too polite for your own good. I don't think you know how to answer him back. Hey, do you remember at university he used to say, please, sorry, and thank you to vending machines? You know Rupert's trying to ban washing powder.
Indeed, Mark. Which brings me on to my next point. Washing powder. This substance is responsible for the demise of the environment, and it's up to us to take a stand. I'd like you to join with me on a vote against using this hideous product in the house. David?
All those in favour, please raise your hand. Okay, so in conclusion, this House agrees to an outright ban on all mainstream washing powders. Laundry, in as so far as laundry might be considered,
There are people in this world with no drinking water at all.
will be performed using the only ecologically sound washing powder on the market today.
Well done, Dave. I know how hard it is to say market out loud.
Yeah, located only after an extensive Google search by our comrade.
They're not all socialists, Dave.
I'm sorry guys, that's our friend Phil, who took time out from his necessary role in the capitalist system to search for a non-polluting washing powder.
The reality is the governments of this world aren't going to save the planet. It's up to us.
Can I just say, that thing where I used to talk to vending machines? I mean, it's kind of embarrassing that Mark remembered, but can I just say that's something I only did a few times. Mostly at college in my first year. I mean, by the time I was revising for finals, I'd almost completely given it up.
Andy, good to see you, my man. Is that your mum's necklace? Cool. Come in. You will love this place.
So what about this whole washing powder thing? I mean, don't you think it's a bit over the top?
Why should it bother me, man? I mean, it's probably all the same thing, just in different colour boxes. I mean, if that's what Rupert wants to do, then I've got my PhD thesis to worry about anyway.
If you show him a globe, if you show him a map of the world, 50% of people can't actually point to Britain.
Can I just say, I've looked into this matter before, and in America, I'll tell you, the figure is closer to 60%. Think about that. Think about what that means.
What? That the Americans are marginally more stupid than we are?
The message here, guys, is that if the education system in this country fails the children of this country, how are those same children meant to know where that country is?
The weather maps are a bit of a giveaway.
It's a very distinctive shape.
I mean, Rupert, what are you trying to do now anyway? Get some asylum seeker legal aid?
Do you know, if you took all the money that you're trying to spend on legal aid for that one African asylum seeker, you actually sent it to Africa, do you know how many lives you could save?
You're such an arsehole, David. Do you know if you said that in public, what would happen? You'd never work in any professional position again.
You know how much this means to Rupert.
For some time, Rupert had been attending formal political demonstrations in central London. It had been his passion since he was a student, and since he didn't have a day job, he was able to attend just about all of them. Then in late September,
He put on his own political demonstration at Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park and somehow managed to persuade all of us to come along.
They tell us this is a society where the rights of the common man matter. But what I'm here telling you on this platform today is we are deceived. The greedy 1% keep getting richer while the rest of us are left to rot. Inequality is on the rise and it's up to us to take a stand.
Steve told Rupert that he had to perform a life-saving operation on a child and that he wouldn't be able to attend on time. And Rupert believed him.
We need to support the cause, fight inequality, join the cause, support us, support the cause and join the revolution. Occupy London.
Hey, could I change a 20?
Yeah, same as last time.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. Cheers, pal. See ya. I'd wanted to take my coat along, but Rupert argued that it was impossible for me to get cold because of global warming. I mean, at that stage, it wasn't so much his politics that bothered me. It's more his lack of insight into the weather. I mean, if he'd done it in, say, July or August or something, I probably would have persisted with the whole collection thing.
Hey.
Steve, what you doing here?
I was just on my way to the pub. Rupert's finishing. Phil said we're going to get a drink.
Ah, yeah, I'll be over in a bit.
So, did you collect much money for the cause?
There. What do you think of that?
Did you actually collect that?
No, of course not. Fucking freezing out there. Besides, I can actually earn more money in here than I can standing out there. Why stand there in the cold for 4 hours and make what, 10, 20 quid? Made 200 in here doing real work. And I'm drinking simultaneously.
Does Rupert know?
Shouldn't think so. He's using that megaphone of his. Anyway, what does that matter? I mean, if that guy was running this country, he'd have me robbed of everything I ever earned anyway. You just ask him about his fair tax policy. He'll talk you through it fairly slowly.
So it was about equality?
That was his philosophy at the time. Basically, they went for the property as theft angle. The way Rupert saw it, if you claimed to own anything in the first place, then you'd already committed the crime.
You know, when I first got into this moonlighting thing...
What, like private financial advice to the rich?
Yeah. Well, to begin with, I used to ask for some piffling amounts as a fee. But then I realised if you asked for some astronomical figure, people just nodded and forked out for it. So, if you're on a night shift and one of the nurses was like, yeah, how about it? I mean, could you actually, like, on the ward now? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Burrows. Yeah. Did that go well? And did any of the partners mention our contribution to that project? Yeah? What? What do you mean we didn't get it? Christ, he didn't really say that, did he? But the report itself was actually okay, yeah? I mean, they liked the actual report. But... some bastard spotted my shirt.
Well, you were wearing a shirt and someone spotted it.
Shit. You can see it there? You know why this is happening? It's not about God or politics. It's certainly not about principles. No, this is about the roof over me head. And my principal point is social contact. And yeah, in the final analysis, it's about washing powder. Look at this collar.
Oh, is this like a TV commercial or something?
My boss has seen this. My boss has seen this.
Did he tell you?
No, the receptionist told me that. Look, we can still live like this. We can still use biologically inert washing powder that may well help save the planet. And go to work in clean shirts. Now, I say we go to Eldon's. This is it. No, this is the plan. Right? At the moment, I leave the house at like 8:10 every morning. So I'm gonna tell the guys I'll start leaving early because I'm so keen, and I'll start leaving at like 7:30 with this. Right? Then I'll rush to the station to get to the train on time. But instead of going to the office, I'll go to Eldon's place. Now, when I get to his, I'll throw the first shirt into the laundry using the proper powder, the good stuff, right? Incidentally, I'll be keeping the packet there to avoid detection by the enemy. And then there'll be one hanging up from the day before. Now, I'll take that down, iron it while mine's washing it. Bing bang boom, Bob's your uncle, clean shirt.
So what's with the third shirt?
The third shirt? That's like my stunt shirt. I keep that one back at the house, wash it using the eco-friendly stuff, and then wear it on weekends to make it dirty again.
Well, surely it would already be dirty.
Even dirtier. So no one suspects what I'm doing. Don't you guys see? I can still live in a morally righteous way. I can keep paying my rent, sponsor Dave with his PhD, and continue as a successful businessman.
Mark, you should be in charge of this country. Don't you agree, Albert?
Thanks.
How long is this going to go on for?
As long as it takes. As long as it takes for the doctors, or scientists, or whoever the hell, to come up with some ecologically sound washing powder that actually makes your shirt clean. And that, my friend, could take decades.
Listen, Mark, Steve, this is like truly mind-boggling.
Steve's registrar Bob managed to convince him that the only way to make money in medicine was to become a surgeon with a huge private practice. A few days later, he put in his application for a surgical training post.
Sit down. Ah, yes. Interesting CV. A few omissions, I feel. Could you list all your publications, please?
I'm a junior doctor, so I haven't had the chance to publish any formal scientific literature as such.
Could you tell me the date you passed FRCS Part 1?
It's my first year as a house officer, so I'm not actually eligible to sit the test. Obviously, I'll sit it as soon as the option becomes available.
Obviously. How many subjects did you get honours in during final medical exams?
I didn't get honours in any of my medical finals.
Which prizes did you win in medical school? Take your time.
I didn't enter any of the prize exams.
Do you have many other surgical interviews lined up in the near future?
I don't have any more scheduled at the moment. This is my first surgical interview.
That will be all.
Well, there was concern about Andrew, you know, the gay guy. We'd been hearing some strange noises from his room for several nights, and then, well, in the end, I just couldn't take it anymore. Steve! They're in there! In there!
Oh my god. I think we should go in there.
What the hell are you doing? It's Andrew. He's got a bloke in there and they're going in.
I just spent the entire weekend at a protest action. I've been threatened by uniformed police officers. I was interviewed by Gay Times.
Ah, did you tell him you were gay? I might have given you a discount.
I left it ambiguous, for political reasons. Look, you are not going in there. Privacy and sexual partner is a key privilege in this community.
Well, is that in the Constitution?
Oh, sod this.
Stop!
Oh, in the butt.
Phil argued that if anyone managed to shag a woman in the house, then the rest of the housemates should pay him a 20% bonus. And I think the policy would have gotten a lot of grassroots support, but Rupert wasn't having any of it.
And finally, I have to conclude that your tenancy is no longer viable in this building. We would expect you to vacate the premises.
Rupert. He's already left. He isn't here, the chair's empty.
House protocol must be observed.
Wait a minute. Why does he have to leave?
This man lied to us.
Hey, what about the 100% levy on my rent? Do I get to be reimbursed on my levy?
Not necessarily. We can't be sure his sexuality didn't change during his tenancy.
That episode with the gay guy who was shagging the woman in secret did shock Rupert, and I know he really felt it. What it doesn't say in Steve's book is that Rupert was trying to find a rainforest person to move into the house. You know, someone moved out of the Amazon by capitalist loggers. Rupert was prepared to offer 20% discount to any rainforest person and an additional 30% if he could provide objective proof that his habitat had been demolished by JCB. After the incident with Andrew, the rainforest option became impossible. Steve and Mark would have refused to cover his rent. I mean, all he'd have to do was put on some funny wall face paint and talk about being at one with the trees. And if he'd had a South American accent as well, how the hell could we contradict him?
Okay, I've had an idea, right? Now, the good stuff and that pollution-free eco crap, they're practically the same colour. So, if I transfer it into this bag, if I swap it with the box on top of the machine, right, and I won't have to do my laundry at Elton's anymore.
So what if the two laundry powders smell completely different?
Have you not heard? Rupert's about to shift us all over to ethnic foods. He wants to express his love for different cultures. Whole house will stink of the stuff.
And what if someone cleans the house?
They never will.
Okay, listen up. The reality is clear to all. There was ample evidence that this man was beaten by police before giving evidence. We need to have our voices heard, so we need to let them know. Let's do this, huh? All right. So we'll march through the city and head to Westminster.
Rupert spent the whole day protesting and went on to address a slightly larger rally in the church hall that same evening.
So what's happening?
Rupert's been in there giving a speech.
What, is he turning religious or something?
No, he's trying to get someone out of jail.
Yeah, he's a right nutter. I think the coppers should come round and lock him up.
What's Julia doing and why is she talking to Rupert?
I think she's trying to get her friend Janet a place in the house.
Janet?
Yeah, just be another person to collect rent from. I mean, in the end, he's the one that gets rich. We'll all be paupers. It's always the people with the soft skills that get rich. Looks, move, manipulation. That's what he's good at.
So what do you think he's going to do with all the money then?
He'll keep it.
He's going to give their money to that idiot who's afraid to get a job.
He's got ours, hasn't he? I mean, he'll get a job when he wants to. This isn't profound. This is just a passing phase.
Oh, that's the guy that runs this place.
What, you mean this is where you're living now?
Yeah, but tell Mum that I'm going to do this in the weekend, okay? Thanks for the visit.
Okay.
Hello, can I speak to Officer O'Connor, please? Yes? Yes, thank you. Hi, Matt. I need to talk to you about something. Do you have a minute?
Did Rupert have an impact on some of the young ladies passing through the property? Yeah, I suppose he did. I mean, Rupert didn't want to shag Janet, and I don't think she took it very well. Then, of course, she saw me plastic bag full of white powder. I mean, did Janet betray us to the police? Yeah, I suppose she did. I mean, that's an important learning lesson. Realising that some hot chick that you thought you'd invite to a party can have you all thrown in the clanger based on a whim.
Just wait in the car.
Mark Hunter? Mr. Mark Hunter! Now, I have been tipped off that there are drugs in this premises.
Can I help you, officer?
I have been reliably informed that there are narcotics in this house. What the hell's that?
Laundry powder?
In any society, in any community, there is a code of conduct.
Where's David?
There are actions that are acceptable, and there are actions that are
Oh,
unacceptable.
for God's sake, Rupert.
Mark! I was willing to defend you when it came to cocaine. Do you understand that?
Bottom line is, he was jealous. I mean, Rupert had been trying to get himself arrested for some time for being involved in a political demonstration. He'd tried lots of things, screaming abuse, waving banners, even tried throwing empty cans of Diet Coke. I mean, I just think they thought he was some sort of idiot.
I was willing to go down with you.
You wouldn't have gone down anywhere. You'd have found some way out of it to make sure someone else went down instead.
I would have come and visited you in prison. Even when all your relatives have stopped showing up, I would have been there every month. But this is unacceptable.
Mark, if you were being charged, I'd have been there to support you as well.
Oh, yeah?
I'd have come to visit you. You know, if it wasn't too far away.
If what wasn't too far away?
The prison. They have prisons in different places.
Well, what would you call far away?
Well, something on the tube would have been fine.
At the very least, Mark, I hope you'll accept that we'll be negotiating the financial contribution towards the household from you.
It was automatic laundry powder. When he found that out, I think he was relieved. I mean, if I'd ended up in prison and he hadn't, he'd have been overcome with envy.
Used to sit and wonder why, babe. It don't matter anyhow. And I used to sit and wonder why, babe. If you don't know by now, when your rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on, but don't think twice, alright.
Hello? Sister. Yes, we're looking after the place impeccably well. £150 a month.
When Mark and Dave dropped out, that was a fatal blow. The idea of the community, its time had been and gone. Even Rupert knew he had to get a job.
I got it. They wanted me to start straight away. I think it was the suit. Or maybe the PhD. How did that surgical interview go?
Oh, the whole process is rigged. They probably gave it to his daughter's fiancé or something. Anyway, what's this I hear about you leaving the flat?
You know, that place is alright and everything, but it's of its time, you know, and that time has been and gone, Doc. Right, it's like when you're 5 years old and you jump on a push bike and you're Batman and like that's it, you know? But Batman just doesn't do it for me anymore.
What, you're gonna start turning up on time now?
I even cut my hair and change my name.
So, who are we gonna get to fill the room?
They'll have to find someone else. Someone dumb enough to pay twice the market rate for that dump.
And that's what you were doing.
Yeah, but I didn't have any money back then, did I? Besides, this place is thinking about giving me a golden hello, like, do you understand? They're gonna pay me to actually start working for them. Because I'm so smart. If the guys in the house were dumb enough to pay my rent for me, then that's up to them, and I'm grateful for it, but like, that's why we've got 8 million British people sitting on their arses, because the government just pays them to do it. And then you've got do-gooders like Rupert, and you know, if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have any poor people today. Don't go getting all high and mighty on me, right? You didn't want to move in when you had the chance. Or until that posh Totty Julia started turning up.
Look, it wasn't suitable for my needs at the time, okay?
Hey, you know, she didn't really work in that art gallery after all. Apparently it was just something her father set up for her to keep her occupied. I mean, look how she's doing. She doesn't even have a PhD.
And you really think that means I don't want to shag her?
Well, depends on what sort of man you are. Are you a man who's ruled by your principles and you judge your character? Are you ruled by your dick?
Do you know that Karl Marx would have never been able to complete his works if the British hadn't given him asylum? And I heard the 20 million Russians that Stalin shot in his name were really grateful for that.
Oh, James, bad news actually. That doctor you appointed as your assistant has pulled out of the post.
Guess we just have to go with my second choice candidate.
See, that's the problem. I've been to medical staffing, and the only doctor left who's still available is your fourth choice candidate.
For God's sake. We can't have him. Have you seen his CV? I can't believe that anybody with that CV would apply to work for me. Get down to personnel and have them ring the British Medical Journal and re-advertise that job.
That's the problem, James. The hospital is now run by managers. The managers make the rules, and the rules are that if you have not appointed a doctor to that post by 5 o'clock tonight, the funding will evaporate and that doctor will vanish.
And it's our farmers. It's our fat, greedy farmers that are stopping those poor bastards from putting their produce in our supermarkets.
One day, Rupert came back from a political meeting in Hampstead and decided that famine in Africa could be blamed on the landed gentry in Hampshire.
It's only when the barriers to importations have been removed and the greedy country gents have been made to suffer that the African farmer will be able to sell his produce at competitive prices.
That's not what you said 2 weeks ago.
You said they should stop growing cash crops.
How else are they going to get any cash?
I'm sorry, is this the Christian Socialist Lecture Theatre again?
No, we've moved on from there, Mark. We've moved on from there while you were slowly dying in your air-conditioned office. And if you'd been there the other day, if you'd been at Speaker's Corner, you would have seen a man with real convictions.
Right, so what you're saying is, if we all come out, you'll give us 7% off in the rent?
Someday I'm going to have people like you banned.
What you've got to understand is that what Rupert did in the house wasn't wrong. His problem was that towards the end he became a zealot.
Hello?
Yes, Doctor.
It's James Maloney speaking.
I'm just ringing about that 2-year surgical training post you applied for.
The thing is, the chap we've actually appointed has just accepted another position in Abu Dhabi, and then my second choice has just informed us by text that she's pregnant with twins. I have nothing to do with that, by the way.
Sorry, he pulled out.
I've just received an email from management.
That if I haven't appointed a replacement by 5 o'clock this evening, she's going to leave me with no assistant at all. Yes, there's no need to worry about those blank pages in your CV. With this contract, you'll have 2 years to fill them all in.
you send me that offer in writing?
Yes, of course we let you know in writing. Yeah. Goodbye.
I got the job.
No way, Steve! Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, this calls for a real celebration. Black tie party tonight. Suit up, boys. We're gonna have a good time.
Suit up? I don't have a suit.
We better get that sorted.
Then, Stephen, there are forces of evil acting in this world.
And one day Rupert will have them shot.
I thought you hated him.
I did. Until I realized he wanted to shoot people.
Julia, yeah, I'm just straightening out my black tie. You still coming tonight?
Is black tie really appropriate for a revolutionary movement? Aren't you supposed to wear cloth caps?
Yeah, well, maybe in the 1900s, but this is the 21st century, dear.
Do you even have a black tie?
Kind of. No, Rupert's even got one. Bob.
Oh, Stephen. Yes. Hello. Listen, I'm really sorry we couldn't get you into that party this evening. Yeah, it's just the way it is.
You know what? Fuck off.
Let's say you can leave
In the end, Steve got back together with Julia. When Bob had told him how much money he could earn on Harley Street, he realised that the only way he could compete with the incomes of the merchant bankers and get back Julia was to declare his long-term interest in owning his own private clinic on Harley Street. And Steve was a pretty forgiving man. It didn't seem to bother him much that she had dumped him and in the interim spent her time trying to shag some hedge fund manager. He knew what he wanted and he did what he had to do to get it. Julia was interested in watering pot plants, organising a church flower arranging competition, going for bike rides in the countryside, that sort of thing. She didn't care that much about whether Stalin had killed more people than Hitler. I mean, let's face it, most people don't. I mean, Steve learned that if you want to persuade a hot art gallery PA to marry you, you convince her that your cumulative earnings are more than a merchant banker. And if that's what love is, then that's just one of the lessons we learned. David's doing very well. He's got himself a yuppie flat in Docklands. He commutes to work every day on the Emirates cable car. He's a new man.
I did read the passage where Steve talks about calling me at university and I was never in, but I think people might have read the wrong thing into that. I think I was just trying to come to terms with the strain of everything in my own way. I'm glad that Steve's book is doing well. Now, I don't have a problem with success. From the first time I got in that cable car and I commuted to this place, I knew that my life was going to move on. I really enjoyed living in that house. I think that Rupert did actually create something really special.
As you know, the unexpected bestseller, An Experiment in Anarchy, has now broken all publishing records. And the question on everybody's lips is, what has happened to Rupert and where is he now? Many people have suggested that he's embarrassed about his conversion to capitalism. Well, Rupert is expected to arrive any moment now. Rupert, I wonder if you could give us a few words about your new role as a stockbroker.
Last I heard, Rupert was doing very well. He's one of the most successful stockbrokers they've ever seen. He's found a home there. Now it's very hard to imagine him doing anything else.
Does it surprise me that Rupert has become a stockbroker? No.
Looking back at it, I wouldn't say it was so surprising. What most people don't realise is that being a Marxist revolutionary and being a stockbroker are almost exactly the same person.
We have tried to contact Rupert via his office, but so far without luck. Then days ago, we tried to organise an interview with him actually in the stock exchange, but he was buying a copper mine in Africa. Then 5 days ago, his secretary promised to be able to speak to us, but he was buying an oil field in Kazakhstan. But I can tell you that he has agreed to speak today, and we're waiting for him now.
The belief in your own ability. The ability to inflict pain on others without feeling pain yourself. The ability to extract cash from others.
Well, you know, Jill, it's difficult to put across in just a few seconds, and I'm afraid it's going to have to be a few seconds because I'm due at Heathrow shortly. What I think you're talking about is a unique place, a unique time in the lives of the individuals involved.
But when you read this book now, when you remember the days you were living tax-free,
I'm paying tax for about 40 people now.
but when you look back at that time now,
Jill, I haven't actually read that book, but I understand Steve has done well out of it, and I'm pleased for him. What I would say is that it was a time when we were able to explore the life with a pace and with an intensity that very few people ever experience. If we hadn't done that, if I hadn't run that place in the way that I ran it, none of the people living there would have had that experience. That community gave the boys an experience that went on to define the very essence of youth and their hopes and dreams. And when you look back on your own life, if your viewers at home look back on theirs, how many of them could tell you that?